Welcome back, folks. It's another amazing episode of It's About Payroll. What's up, Walt?
What's up, man? It's almost like you were going to say it's about your paycheck or something.
Man, yeah. It's just good, busy, and we're living the dream, man. And it's been a great time, and
Yes,
just an amazing time for us in the company. And so I'm just overjoyed, bro, for this episode. We've had on guests for a long time, for a few episodes, and again, always love my guests, but it's awesome when we just get to kick payroll, and that's going to be the next few episodes, folks. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to announce, and we're just excited about it, man. What's up with
yeah,
you?
man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, man. So, it's gratefulness.
Yes.
The zone I'm in right now, and so just glad to be, here at this point, because it wasn't that long ago that we were contemplating that, just like, okay, whatever, and I'm glad we stuck to it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We was about to close up shop for
Yeah.
real. Probably a year in the last 2 years. Yeah, it was like, all right, let's. Yep. But yeah, man. I think I think it's a great testament to our partnership and our yin and yang,
Yep.
and how we balance each other out and whatnot. Because when I'm
Yeah, man.
down, you pick me up. When you're down, I try to pick you up. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. And yeah, so thank us both for just, grateful for us to just keeping each other pushing through and getting to this point, because man, at the other side of impossible is greatness, man. And
Yeah,
that's it.
man.
I'm still looking for that. And it's the journey, right? It's the journey. I was listening to Will Smith on Drink Champs again last night.
Mhm.
And there's just a part in there that he talks about, rock bottom, mountaintop, that folks really should listen to. And
Yeah.
man, I'm just so thankful to be here, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, so let me get into it before we get into the show.
Yes. Let's
So I
do
had
it.
one quick update. This is mostly, not really payroll related, but just kind of like on the inflation and stuff like that. So it does impact, pay and stuff, but not from a technical or a process standpoint. So, I wanted to just compare what $100,000 in 2026 the value was 20 years ago, right? So the purchasing power, of $100,000 now was the equivalent to about a little over 60K in 2020 and in 2006, right? So if you did that reverse, so how much purchasing power was 100K in 2006 until now? That would mean that you would need to make at least a little over 150K to equal that to
60.
yeah. So
A salary of 60,000 in, what was it? 06, you said?
06, yeah.
06 would
It's
be
up
equivalent to 150K now or over,
to 100,000 now.
or 100,000 now.
And then 100,000 in
Nah,
2006
2006.
is 100 and almost 60 now.
Wow.
Yeah, so that they said it was about a
20 years.
about a 61%. Prices are 61% higher 20 years later. So that kind of speaks to the financial fitness thing of it, right? Like
Yes.
everything's more expensive.
Yep.
Groceries, services, goods. The price that clients are probably paying for their payroll now is probably way more expensive than what it was 20 years ago, right? So just
Yeah.
keep those things in mind. Now, we're having to find ourselves being more lean, being lean and mean, like you say, and being
Yep.
able to do more with less. So
Yeah.
just be mindful of those things. And we see a lot of layoffs going on around the country in different industries. I see a lot of brothers and sisters in the payroll industry out there saying, hey, I'm open for work and
Yeah.
stuff. So, just to be mindful of those things of how, like the times that we're in,
Yeah, man. It's definitely, one of the things you made me think about was the pricing is different now. Also, like the way they used to price payroll systems then was not PEPM. Now, all the vendors are kind of moving to that PEPM model, which is per employee per month, which that's how we pay for software, and that's how we pay for subscriptions, and that's how Netflix, everything wants to kind of charge that per person per month.
Yeah.
type of one, and it's good because it's transparency. You just pay the one fee. Well, you got to make sure
Mhm.
that it's just that fee,
Yeah.
because some, there's no hidden fees. But yeah, it's even that, right? Like that's changed the way the pricing models and not how an expense. Yeah, it's very interesting. So great analogy, and it's definitely payroll, right? It
Yeah.
impacts our pockets. And I forget, I was talking to a colleague recently, and they were like, "Oh, somebody wanted to hire somebody at 100K, and they thought that was going to solve it." And I think it was in the New York market, but guess what? 100K in the New York market is not a senior level person.
Mm-mm.
That's junior, mid level at best.
Yeah. Mhm.
So call out for like how inflation impacts payroll, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't have necessarily anything right now. I'm sure I'll throw tidbits in along the way as I think of stuff. I'm really excited to talk about our first topic.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Let's get into it.
yeah, hopefully by this point, folks have seen on LinkedIn that we have published the book,
Mhm.
and It's About Payroll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your blueprint to start, grow, and lead from entry level to leadership. And we really, we created this book because of a survey that has been front of mind for us for a few years now. And that's
Mhm.
that payroll folks are aging out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
If you've ever listened to a business podcast and thought, this sounds good, but no one actually talks like this behind closed doors, you're not wrong. On the LeaderBook AI podcast, we talk about the conversations leaders actually have after the board meeting, after the AI rollout that doesn't quite land. I'm Felicia Shakiba, and I interview CEOs, investors, and operators about what really drives performance. If you want that level of honesty, subscribe to the LeaderBook AI podcast.
how do we always talk to we like it's always I fell into payroll, and if you check the engagement on the posts, right? Oh man, that was me. I say, I fell into payroll. Everybody's kind of chiming in on,
Yeah.
yeah, I fell into payroll. I fell into payroll. So let's change. Like the book is really meant to change that narrative,
Yep.
to give new grads, whether it be high school or college, a career path and an
Yeah.
option that they may not have known about. And to your point, the folks that are getting impacted by layoffs in non payroll jobs, hey,
Mhm.
maybe they could pivot over,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So super excited, man. And yeah, bro, how you been feeling about it?
No, I'm happy, man. I'm happy because I think it shines a light on the payroll industry and lets people know, like, people, when you tell people that you process payroll, that's not so common for folks, right? Like it's
That's
very
right.
niche, right? There's not a lot of people that do that. People say, "Oh, I'm in retail. I'm in," the common type of
Hmm.
things. I'm in customer service and stuff like that. But like, advertising like, "Hey, yeah, I'm in payroll. I found success in payroll,
Yep.
and was able to build, a legacy, with payroll in my career." And it's very empowering to do that, right? Like we're in a time where people love to be empowered. People love,
Hmm.
there's people who love challenges and stuff, and payroll is going to do all those things. It's going to
Yeah.
challenge you. It's going to bring out the best in you. And if you let it, be the worst, but you got to keep a
Oh
level head.
gosh.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you need to be able to navigate those things. And I think this book is going to help people realize, like, hey, that is another option that I can have, right? I can be one of those payroll pilots that Brian talks about. You know what I'm
My
saying? Like, and
prediction.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I think that, even though the landscape of payroll may be impacted by AI, but I think that, as, our peers and even ourselves start to look towards retirement in the next few years, I think that, is going to be well to do. We're going to be well to do with this book and like pushing it out there to libraries, to schools, to,
Yep.
even starting in middle school with kids.
Yeah.
Like,
No
read
doubt.
this.
It's a
You
good
have
call out.
opportunity to be, a payroll pro when you get older. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, and just have that option for it because everything that's out there is mostly like technical. Like, this is how
Hmm.
you do payroll. Yeah, we
Right.
talk about some of that in the book, but it's telling you how you can accomplish, how you can gain entry to into it,
Yep.
and how you can be successful. And
Yep.
everybody that quoted in the book, man, I'm super excited.
Oh,
about
heck yeah.
everybody's input and the
Yep.
support that we're getting. So, man, I'm excited. How about you, man?
Same. I
Yeah.
mean, you said quoted, not, Nick Day
Mhm.
wrote the forward. I
Yeah.
mean, truly honored. Nick Day is really the only payroll podcast senior to us, ahead of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't know it at the time. They were, I don't know, 50 some odd episodes ahead of us. Like we saw it and we're like, oh, okay, there's another one. Right. And so, anywho, pioneer, in this game, and we kind of, were honored to kind of follow in his footsteps and continue that legacy of building a payroll conversation. And when we connected finally and shared, talked, and he was the fact that he was even, did, I was just honored, man. It was just an honor for us to have him to write the forward. So shout out to Nick Day, um,
So
and
many
Ian
people.
Giles.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Ian Giles, another powerhouse in the industry. And also, he contributed the part in the book about how, like, the UK does payroll different,
Yeah.
and they have apprenticeship programs in the UK. And
Mhm.
Jody, from PSN, also says the same thing. You know what I mean? Like we've learned it from them, from the UK, that
Yeah.
they have apprenticeship, but they don't have that in the US. You know what I mean? You're one of the rare unicorns that actually chose payroll for your career, and most of us is by accident. And we
Yeah.
really need to change that. And my oldest daughter had a big input in how we framed the and kind of, yeah, and just kind of framed the way we wrote the book, because our first draft, she read the first draft and she's like, you're kind of making it scary now. You lead with no one chooses payroll. So
Yeah.
then she's
Yeah.
like, you lost me right there. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, you're right. And
Yeah.
she's young,
I
right?
remember that.
She's
I
so
remember
she's
that. Yeah.
22, right? She's 22. She's in that bracket of where we want to hit young folks looking for a career path, and,
Mhm.
just graduating college, right? And she's like, you lost me out the gate. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, we got to reframe that, right? And that really helped impact it, because she was right. Like that,
Yeah.
we do end up saying it in there because it's
Yeah.
true. You have to say it. And that was my part. She's like, yeah, but put that further in,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, we want to change that story for payroll careers. Too long people have framed it as something they fell into. And, I want to talk about, why that story needs to change. And the book talks about that, and why
Yeah.
payroll should be seen as intentional. It
Mhm.
is absolutely a respected career and real growth potential. Not
Yep.
only can you, get to the executive level, we don't have C-suite yet. We're not their chief payroll. I've coined myself and Walt as chief payroll officers, but because
Yeah.
we own our own business, but that title doesn't exist in corporate yet. There's a lot of initiatives to try to push for that.
Yeah.
But we're business owners. We had a long career and still going. We're just,
Yes,
like,
sir.
rewriting a new chapter now. Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Like with more to come, we're gonna continue to talk about the book as
Yes.
we go along and stuff. But we just wanted to give you a
Yes.
little bit of a heads up and stuff of what's to come, and we'll probably read little excerpts from the little parts of the book and stuff. So
Oh yeah, look
yeah,
out for more. The link to the book is not only on LinkedIn, it's on our website. It's aboutpayroll.io.
mhm.
It'll be in show notes. And if you know any new grads coming, people looking for a new career path, share it with them.
Yeah,
Yeah, but other than that, we do also have a true payroll crime story to talk about today.
yeah.
As we love, yeah, it's always a little fun to talk about these crazy stories and what folks do. What you got for us today, Walt?
So yeah, this story is about a Jersey City Department of Recreation payroll clerk who stole over 80K by
Mm,
falsely inflating payroll hours for certain relatives and associates between December of 2016 through February of 2018. So
there's that magic time frame again.
about 14
2
months.
years.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So
Yeah.
according to the New Jersey Attorney General's office, the scheme involved altered timekeeping spreadsheets and paycheck hours for hours that were not actually worked. So
Wow.
yeah, authorities said some of the checks were deposited into the clerk's personal account after being forged, while others were deposited into accounts controlled by the people named on the checks. The former clerk was sentenced to 3 years in state prison,
Oh,
ordered to pay full restitution, and permanently barred from public employment.
Hey, this is William Tincup, and you should know about the You Should Know podcast. It's a topical, fun podcast with Ryan, myself, and a guest or guests, plural sometimes, and we tackle the most timely topics of the day. Give it a look, give it a listen, and subscribe. Thanks.
this is one of the rare cases that we found with actual conviction, sentencing information, the punishment involved. Because
Yeah.
sometimes we find these cases, right, that they're like, there's no, we didn't get the sentencing information yet.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like sometimes all they get is just they have to pay it back,
right,
and then
right.
there's minimal sentencing, that we
hmm
get to see. It's just like okay,
3 years in prison is not worth 80K.
no, it's not, bro.
And I'm sure, being that it's payroll and other people are involved, like
Mhm.
then they split up that 80K. Like, it's so not worth it. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
So yeah, she was helping. So I read
Uh
more of the story in the link,
huh.
and so she was hooking up her relatives and friends. So she just wasn't taking cash herself. So this person was actually hooking up with the people around her, and so yes, it was probably less than 80K that she definitely received in her personal account. But man, yeah, like bro, like 3 years for 80K, man.
Not worth it. Not worth
Yeah.
it, man.
Yeah.
So all that to say, what are the lessons out of this?
hmm So,
Um,
you want to get into it?
yeah, I'll get into it. So, the story is great, and like, but there are lessons to be learned, right? Because we
Yeah.
we we talk about this every time. There's always a reason why these folks get away, or these bad actors kind of get away with it.
hmm
And for payroll, let's talk about that. And one of the first things is spreadsheet risk,
Yep.
right? Another one is weak approval controls. And I think
hmm
that's where is definitely zeroing in on here. Segregation of duties. This is classic stuff. Payroll audit discipline. I love that. And I don't want to say I'm a victim of that, but it's easy to fall out of payroll audit discipline.
hmm
You know what I mean? And look, I'll list the last two and you tell me what you think here of, like, exception reporting,
hmm
right? Meaning your off cycles, your manual checks, things like that.
Yeah.
And then the danger of unchecked trust in the manual process. So it's a payroll audit discipline. What do you
Yeah.
think?
That's all those are on point. Basically the last one I think is just, the danger of unchecked trust in manual processes is basically allowing someone to work in that silo and to
hmm
without any oversight, right? Payroll audit discipline, like yes, you ever been in those situations where you're just processing so much and you're just
Yep.
like trying to get it done and you like you
You
fall
don't have
into
time.
yeah, you fall into that trap of like okay,
hmm
like oh man, I can't do it, right? Because I just don't have the bandwidth to do it, right? So weak approval controls. The most egregious to me is the fact that they were still using spreadsheets for timekeeping. You know what I'm
Oh, is that
saying?
okay? I missed
Yeah,
that part. That's why
yeah.
I was
So
hoping you would speak to that. Okay.
yeah, she was altering the spreadsheet, the time
Oh,
on the spreadsheets. So like, yeah, you were manipulating that stuff and changing the
oh
hours,
my
right? So
gosh.
yeah, so whether that's, the export from the time system, because maybe she wasn't actually altering time that was punched in, but maybe
Okay, I was
the
gonna
export,
say, yep,
she was like
yep.
inflating the hours there. So maybe that's what she was doing. Because like, yes, lots of us have
Which would
to
audit would
im-
catch. Yep,
import those things. But yeah, if you're not checking the what was paid versus what was clocked, then that stuff can go under the
exactly.
radar. Yeah,
It almost doesn't even matter how and what you use if you
yeah,
have bad controls, no segregation, no audits, and
yeah.
no exception reporting. It doesn't matter how great your technology is. Like, you could still fall victim to this. And those are it's the fundamentals. So,
Mhm.
and that's kind of been like a recurring theme in my mind this past year with payroll, especially with the advent of all of the technology and the AI conversation we've been having for a couple years now. I can't believe we've been using ChatGPT for 3 years. No, yeah, 3 years.
Mm.
And it was like, dang, it's been out that long already.
Yeah, it
But
has.
it's but again, you know, it still takes us back to the fundamentals of doing payroll.
Yes, sir.
Does not change. It doesn't matter how cool these tools are. If you don't do these core pro- parts, processes,
Yeah,
tasks, you know what I mean? Then you're at risk. Your
yeah,
department is at risk, right?
yeah,
We taught a class recently, and some of the folks were bringing up things like, how do I solve for this? How do I solve for that? And I'm like, basic questions. I was like, well, you got to audit.
yeah,
How often should I audit? And I was like, a lot if it's unstable, right? So my is always, if you walk into a chaotic, or if you feel like if you're very reactionary, if your
yeah,
department in process is very reactionary to payroll, you got to audit a lot.
yeah,
And whether it be every day I'm exaggerating, but every day could be a different audit, every week, every payroll, very often, until you stabilize the process.
yep,
And then you can move it into a schedule. So,
yeah.
yeah.
That's good, man.
So let me ask you this, bro. Why do you think payroll leadership matters more than ever?
I think because if you have somebody that's not as well versed, or they're newer and they just don't know, you kind of just throw them to the wolves,
Hmm.
like it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy road, right? Especially if they don't have any other points of contacts or somebody that they can reach out to and connect with to help them, to help guide them through the processes, right? So like that's why you want somebody who's savvy and has that tenure in payroll, who has some experience to know what to
Yeah.
do, what to look for, to how to fix those pain points that you're experiencing, either from a company standpoint or a process standpoint, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that you have to, that's one of the many things, right? If you have the right leadership from a payroll standpoint, that can be a world of difference,
Yeah.
versus just having someone just a butt to fill a seat and just to hit the button and hit the process button and nothing's changing, right? In my opinion. What
Yeah.
about you?
Exactly right. Someone I respect a lot and has been a mentor to me in the past, and really just, a great guidance, gave me a compliment. And one of those people that talks good about you when you're not in the room, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So he told someone that not only,
What I love about the Workforce Agility Limited Series by Cornerstone was we talked to executives and customers all about skills, 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 skills. Cornerstone has a wonderful background in learning and development, training, etc. Their LMS is world class, but they've centered the business now, not just on that, like building upon that, but building upon how everything is moved to the skills economy. So check out the limited series called Workforce Agility, and you can get it wherever you get your podcast. And it's just a wonderful series where we talk to their executives on the shift of why, and also their customers that are using it. So check it out whenever you get a chance. Appreciate it.
can I be a strategic architect of the process of payroll, to
mm,
actually do the work well also, and roll my sleeves up and kind of do the work well, as also, because some folks can't do it well anymore
mm.
after they've been in that strategic piece, and they're just on the kind of thought
That's a
leadership and
good. That's a
right.
good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
That's
I
good
think
call out.
that's the case for both of us. Our claim to fame has been processing well,
Yes, sir.
but we also kind of know how we want and that should be how you grow. And it is in the book, right? How you grow into a leader is, yes, you got to process well first, but if you want to grow, you do have to get strategic and think about how a department needs to be built, and the architecture of it all, and the compliance and all that,
Yeah.
and the strategy. You can stay technical, and that's the beauty of payroll. You can stay technical, you can grow into leadership, you can move into that. Like, it has so many avenues
Yeah.
that you can go down and paths for growth. So that's what makes it really cool. But yeah, as far as leadership is concerned, in this case, somebody And in every payroll true crime, it's got to be
Yeah.
oversight.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So,
So some of the key takeaways here is that payroll is not just processing, right?
nope.
It's a function or a duty built on accuracy, trust, compliance, and internal control that you were just speaking to. So this episode is going to highlight, both sides of the profession, the opportunity, to build a meaningful payroll career and the serious consequences that follow when payroll processes are abused.
Yeah. Well put, man. So let's wrap it up with some fun here, bro. A little this
Yeah.
for us was fun. I forget that we could play it with each other.
Yeah,
You
man, we do
know.
this. So I just wanted to make it fun and just, we can ask each other. So I'm going to start off.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
all right. So, which movie is better to you, The Untouchables or The Godfather?
So I'm gonna say The Godfather.
Okay.
Although both, yeah, I grew up with both, literally watching these as a young kid. Probably not appropriate, but that was the '80s, my friend.
That was the 80s.
What about you? Have you seen these movies?
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I think for me, I can't rate one over the other. I got to take both, man. Like,
Really? Okay,
yeah,
both.
I
All
got to
right,
take
that's
both.
cool.
Yeah,
Cool. No, yeah. Okay. All right.
that
So,
dynamic. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
So, okay. So, do you prefer your mom's cooking or your own cooking?
That's a tough. I'm gonna say both there because my mom listens to the show. Hi, mom.
Yeah,
Because it's different cooking, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just different. I can't even mimic. I can't cook like mama. I know like cooking like mama and Nana.
Yeah, yeah.
So what about you? A good cook too.
Same.
Both better keep it safe, right?
Yes, both. I'm gonna
No
do
doubt.
both. My mom is she graduated from the culinary school, so
I know.
yeah,
I know.
yeah. So, do you prefer explaining payroll to an employee or an executive?
An employee.
An employee. Okay.
Because well, actually, neither. How about that? No, it's. Let me caveat that. I prefer explaining it to somebody who's actually willing to listen.
Okay.
Because
I like
because some
that.
folks just, if there's a problem and they're not listening to, and they're angry,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who they are. They're just not hearing you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
I've had So, yeah. What about you?
Same. I have to go with the same as you.
If you're willing to listen, yeah.
Yeah, if they're willing to listen, no matter who they are, because I've had executives and regular employees that just were like just
Yep.
wouldn't listen, just
Not hearing you.
push
Yeah.
back. So it doesn't. I think I
They're
like the
mad.
answer.
They're mad.
Yeah.
When it comes to payroll, they're mad. Yeah.
All right, so this is for
Oh,
the Wu-Tang fans. They're gonna
yep.
know who these people are. So
Of course.
ODB or RZA.
For me, it's the RZA. Although I have a new respect for ODB, I just heard watched his documentary recently, and he's just had real interesting and heartfelt
Gotcha.
story, life. You know what I mean? Super talented, man. But yeah, I'm gonna go with RZA. What about you?
I'm gonna have to say both because I
Okay,
just you
that's
know
cool.
I gotta just that's their classic. So many
No
people
doubt.
love
You
it.
don't lose with both. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, what about Super Mario or Sonic the Hedgehog?
I'm gonna go Super Mario all the day. I'm an '80s kid. Played so many hours of Super Mario. It ain't funny. Sonic was cool when it came out, but Super Mario all day. What about you?
I'm gonna go the other way, man. No, I'm just
Sonic?
playing. Sorry, it's Mario.
Oh, okay,
I'm just
okay.
playing.
And
They're
you
both
a game.
cool.
You're more of a gamer than me, so it's
Yeah,
saying more.
yeah. Super Mario definitely it's
Yeah,
one of those things I would still play now if
I
I had
still
the
play. Yeah,
opportunity. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
exactly. I was just playing tennis. My son got the tennis game
Oh, nice.
on the, what is it? I was gonna say the
Really?
Wii. It's not the Wii. It's the, what's the new
Switch,
system now they
switch.
got? The Switch,
Yeah,
the new Switch,
got
and
it.
the tennis game that's on it. Yeah,
Nice, man. All right. Do you
last
prefer
one.
a perfect chocolate chip cookie or a perfect apple pie?
I want to say perfect chocolate chip cookie in this one.
All
Yeah.
right.
What about you?
Man, I like a chocolate chip cookie, man, but a perfect apple pie is
I
like,
know you were gonna say that. Yep. I knew you were
yeah.
gonna say pie. I love pie, but nah, chocolate chip cookie, perfect chocolate chip cookie. Woo! That's
All
hard
right,
to
man.
that's hard to turn down.
All right, so you gonna read the quote for us?
Sure, no doubt. I caught it earlier, and I was like, oh man, I love this. Faith and fear Both demand you to believe in something you cannot see. So you choose. And Bob Proctor said that. And it's so true, man. We both been on this faith and fear conversation for a long time now. And, you know, faith and fear cannot live in the same place. You know, another thing that makes me think of is if you can overthink the negative, then you can overthink the positive too. So, you know, again, we'll end it on this. Faith and fear both demand you to believe in something you cannot see. You choose. Yeah, man. Love that.
Amen.
Till the next time, folks, please like, follow, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Man, look, you know, go check out the book if you know anybody graduating or looking to pivot careers. Payroll is a great career. Till the next time, stay tuned for the next few shows. We got more to come, more to announce, man. Big things, man. We love you. Peace.
Peace.